Hello, everyone. So this is Module 6 of CS5200 in Spring 2025. So due to the federal holiday, President's Day on February 17, the campus will be closed. So instead of shifting our class schedule, I'm going to continue I'm going to keep the class schedule as planned at the beginning of the semester. The Everything will be going on as scheduled, including assignment, homework, project, and so on, except the lecture. So lecture cannot be in person. Instead, I'm going to provide the recorded video as I announced before. So please watch the video. Just like the in-person class, then you can you can understand how today's topic regarding to the second part of the SQL, and also I believe that you guys can complete the homework assignment and everything successfully. So as a user, if you have any question, you can use the Pearson, or you can combine the TA or the office hour, then you will get the quick response. Okay, so also regarding if you have any question while you are watching today's recorded video, you can also use the MS Teams or the Piazza to get the answer or the help. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so this is the 5200, the database management system, the module 6, the view, store, the procedure, and trigger. So today we are going to mainly talk about how to create and use the view, and also the store the procedure, as well as the trigger. Okay. Before we start today's class, the there are several important announcements for you guys to keep in mind. First, the class policy. So as announced at the beginning of a class, there's no extension for any assignment or homework due, including the project, because every week we have the important assignment. So if we delay the one assignment to the next week, so consequently it will be the delayed, then it will be huge mess up. So there's absolutely no the extension of the due, including the project. Okay. Uh, Also, I have received several requests of the excuse for absent. So I'm going to follow the school policy. So any individual, the matter or the family matter cannot be excused for the absent. So it's totally fully your responsibility to catch up any missing class. Okay. So then sometimes the student ask the recorded video. So unless we have something special situation like the federal holiday or something campus and the university-wide activity, so at the time that I definitely provide the recorded video for our lecture. However, for the regular in-person class, I'm not going to provide the recorded video for your absent or individual matter. Okay, so please, in case you are absent, so it's your responsibility to catch up the missing or any behind the material. At the time, definitely the TA will help a lot for you to catch up the missing part. Okay. Several students ask regarding to the final exam. So our final exam will be the last week during the final exam week. That will be the April 21st, 2025 during our class hour, which means Monday 3 to 6 p.m. I don't decide exactly how long it will be. So for safe it's 3 hours, but based on my experience, it's usually the 2 hour, 2.5 hours. So you can imagine the how long it will be. So regarding to the format of the final exam, so it's a paper based. So which means the student cannot use any the material, including online material or the cheating paper. So absolutely no the supporting material. So the only thing that you guys need to be ready is a pencil and eraser. Then there is the 100% the paper-based exam. So detailed information will be announced 3 or 4 weeks before the final exam. At the time, pretty much I will the have the overall the idea of the final exam based on the your the performances. Okay. But the date and time and the format will not be changed. The third one is, as I announced before, there will be the student research and the innovation showcase, using the poster. So it's basically the poster session for the Silicon Valley campus student. So at the time, I decide for the database, the student, you guys, to participate in the research showcase. So with what? With your the project. So each is a mandatory. It will be graded. So each uh, team that prepare for the poster, then they will participate in the research showcase. So that will be the April 21st. Is I think the last day of the final exam week. Oh, not last week. The Thursday of the final exam week is April 21st, 2025. The maybe the late afternoon. I will let you know the exact time and the schedule the future. Probably after spring break, it will be more the concrete idea of when you will have such a research showcase. Okay, so then couple of more things you guys should keep in mind. The discussion 3 is available right now. Is creating the SQL using ChatGPT. So let me show how it works. So for example, if you go to the discussion on the canvas, so you can see the discussion 3. So by following the instruction over here, so you can select the one realistic query in English that you guys have submitted in the project page 1. Select one. So it's not group the discussion. So individual can select the one the realistic query in English. Then ask ChatGPT or any other large language model to create the SQL for the selected query. Then copy and paste the result, then verify the and explain how it works and why it is accurate, whether it's inaccurate, and something issues, so why don't you provide your idea or the rationale how it works and why. Okay, then then I'm not going to judge whether it's correct or not. Instead, I'd like to see your opinion how to use the large language model to create the SQL. Then how also as a user, you need to reply another post on what you learned and the why, like that. So there's only one the response by the Dion, but the other student can complete this one. Another reminder is project page 3. Is due on the February 23rd. It's the next week, the Sunday. Regarding to the system setup. It's not just the system setup, so your application development setup. So you can install the MySQL on GCP and also the application server. If you're using the web interface and also any other the developing environment, you guys be ready during the phase 3. One more important thing is the large language model. So as you designed this project, this is a SQL training system with the help of large language model. So to do that, the most of you guys will use the API service provided by the large language model. At the time, in case you decide to use the ChatGPT, I can provide the ChatGPT Pro API the key. Otherwise, it's your responsibility to get such an API key. Most of them provide a free trial. So our system is not the real production. So I think the free trial will be the okay. So but I'm willing to provide the API key for the ChatGPT Pro. So if your team wanna use the ChatGPT the Pro for your large language model, please let me know. Then I will give the key. Okay. Couple of more the advertisement. So as the advertiser last week, there was the MIG lab, the social night the last week. So some student, not huge, but some student attended this one. So some of the students are interested to join the MRG lab. So this is kind of the entry, the membership to join the MRG lab research lab. So it's called the MRG research lab intern. So this is not the real position. This is not the paid position. This is just the pretending the research the member in the MRG lab. So if you are interested to join the MIG lab as a research intern, please fill out this form by the February 21st. Then we will have the before the spring break. I'm going to have an interview with the applicant. Then we'll decide who will be the research lab intern. One more time, this is not the formal or the official position. It's just pretending. The position for the research is definitely the unpaid position. So if you are interested, you can use a QR code or you can use the link. This link is also available on our MS Teams. Okay, second announcement. So if you do not have any specific plan during the summer 2025, will be the one of the option. So I decide to be in charge of the CS5330. It's a computer vision class in summer 2025. This summer, I'm going to offer the computer vision class during the summer one. So summer one, as you know, there's the first half of the summer from May the 5th to the June 28th. It's an 8 weeks course. So we are going to meet the 2 times, Tuesday and Friday, during that period. The type of class is a live stream the lecture, which means I'm not available the entire summer, the in person. Instead, the only first 3 weeks, that means the sixth class will be fully in person. Then the other will be the live stream. Obviously, the first 3 weeks also the live stream. So other campus may join the remotely. Okay. So class hour is the Tuesday and Friday, and 1 to 4:20 p.m. So if you are interested, feel free to contact me, and also you can register the course. Okay. Okay, so huge, a lot of the announcement and the advertisement. So this is today's topic. For your reminder, last week we talked about the SQL. So some of the students think about the database course as just the learning the SQL. But however, as we have seen so far, SQL is just a part of the database management system, database design. However, it is also important to know the SQL to be able to use the SQL to use the database management system, and then eventually creating the database. So last week I think only 1 week that we went through the entire the SQL, including data manipulation language, select, update, delete, so on, and also data definition language to create the table, to drop the table, and such a thing. So there, there are the more the SQL statement, SQL the syntax to create the more database object that include the view, stored procedure, and trigger. So today we are going to focus on the view, stored procedure, and the trigger. Those are not covered by the SQL workshop. SQL workshop only cover the data manipulation language, such as the select. So this is important to make the SQL the experience the step up the more in the advanced level. Okay, before we start, so if you already download our exercise lab, the Geek Lab Pro, so let me show you the example. So you can see this is the database lab, the folder. So if you list the folder, you can see the lab, the 3, 5, 6, and so on. But for the lab 6 and the lab 7, you can see the E. E means it's the extra. So in addition to the lab 6, there exists the extra, the lab 6E. So during the class, I'm going to more focus on the lab 6E. Okay, that means that this is the extra in-class exercise lab. What about the lab 6? First, let me show you the lab 6. So there are a bunch of the SQL that actually in our exercise lab book. So go to the lab 6. So this is the advanced SQL. So to show the advanced level of the create table data definition language and also the constraint and so on. So please go ahead by yourself this lab 6. I'm not going to cover the lab 6 during the class. So instead, I'm expecting you guys after today's class and go over the query by query. So for example, the following SQL create a unique, then you can type this one and type and see what's going on. And all the way down, so there's the data definition language, and also that include the view and data manipulation language, and also you can see the join, and then some nested query and the more complex query, and it's the advanced level of the SQL. But I'm not going to cover the how or the practice each and every query today. So instead, I'm going to set aside this for your the homework. So once you complete the entire query, it's a 63 query, then you can complete the creating view and the module query for your the homework. Okay. So instead, during today's class, I'm going to cover during the class 6E, the extra. So this extra is for the in-class exercise lab, the query. So it's a little bit more the practical and so you can the during today's class. You can focus on this, the extra, the lab 6, the query. So I'm going to use this lab 6E folder for today's class. Okay, so one more time. Today's class, I'm going to use the lab 6E folder. However, lab 6 folder will be for your exercise by yourself. Then after you complete the lab 6, submit the assignment. I'm going to explain what will be your assignment at the end of today's class. Okay. Okay, so first the view. So before I start today's lecture, it's important, as I said last week and today's week, please do not just listen on my lecture. So understanding the syntax of view or the syntax of trigger will not be very, very complicated or difficult. Instead, I want you guys to follow my lecture while you are practicing the SQL, which means in your eye, the ear, you can just listen to my lecture. Then the same time, your finger and the eye more focus on the exercise lesson. For example, and before we start, we can connect the database. So you should be able to follow the exercise lab. Then to do that, before you connect the database, why don't you double check the GCP console whether you have the green checkbox. So green checkbox is running correctly, then you will be okay. Then how you are able to connect the database. Then when you connect your database, please use your developing account, not root user. Okay. So this time the show databases, and I'm able to use the test database. So use test. If you do not have the own database, please create the database and give the permission to your the developing account or user database user using the previous exercise lab. So use the test database. So I'm ready. One important thing is please assign in the MySQL from the location inside the lab 6E. So which means if I check the current directory, it's the under the our lab the lab folder, the lab 6E. So your current directory should be the lab 6E. Then sign in your MySQL, then use the test database, then you are ready to follow today's lecture with the exercise lab. Okay. If not, please stop or pause the video, then setup the working environment, then resume the lecture, then you are able to follow. It is okay because it's a recorded video. From time to time, stop or pause my lecture, then type and run the query, then try to understand. At least you should be able to run the existing code and see what's going on. Okay. So also it is good idea to use the exercise lab document anytime. Then from time to time you should be able to check the console also. Okay. The first one is the view. So view is So what is a view? So the different name of the view is called the virtual table in SQL. So what does it mean, virtual table? What is a real table? Real table is the table that you created using the data definition language last week. So you create the employee table, you create the department table, you create the course table. Those are the real table. Okay. What about the view? So view is kind of the table, just like the other table, but it's not really existing one. It's a virtual table. What does that mean, virtual table? So to do that, do you guys the remember the three schema architecture? Yes. So this is the ANSI standard. So when people build the database, the system, there exists the three different schema in the architecture. So this is the diagram for the three schema architecture. Mostly when we design the database, we focus on the conceptual schema. Okay, so create the table, the employee, and the e-name, and so on. So this is conceptual level schema. Then using DBMS, so like the MySQL or Oracle, Oracle has its own the internal schema to create the table. Similarly, the MySQL has the internal schema to create the employee table like that. That is called the internal schema. So internal schema, mostly the DBMS is in charge of the internal schema. While the conceptual schema is the database designer is in charge of to design such a conceptual scheme. Then what about this one, external view? Do you remember there exists another level of the three schema architecture for the database? That's the external view. External view, as I explained before, for example, think about you design the student table as a conceptual, the schema. Using the SQL, you are able to create internally the student table. That's the internal schema. Then suppose that there is a department like the advisor department. The advisor would like to access the student table. We don't want to create another student table. Instead, the advisor is able to access only advising information like the NUID and the GPA and major like that. However, on the other hand, there is another department, it's the finance department. The finance department would like to access the finance information like the social security number, tax information. They don't want to access this one. You don't want to let the finance department to access the academic information, vice versa. So you don't want to the academic advisor would like to access the finance information like the social security number. So do I have to create the multiple table for the student? No, you don't have to. Instead, we are going to create the view, which is a virtual table. It looks like the table from user. However, inside it's not creating the real table, instead using existing table. That is called the view, or sometimes it's called the virtual table. Okay, using the view or virtual table, we are able to implement the external view of three schema architecture. Okay, so how can we create the view? So as a user, we can use the create the view command. So create view command is the very similar as the create the table as well as the selector. For example, we'd like to create the view for the employee, project, and work zone to give the list of the uh, to return the employee name, their project, and hours. I can remember there's such a query that we can use the first name, last name, the project name, and the hours, the employee, project, and work zone, etc. So why don't we select the such a data? Select the first name. You guys can follow me. Last name and the piano and the hours. Let's see the yes P name and the hours, and from the employee and the project and the department. Then the where, the SSN is equal to E SSN and the PNO is equal to the P number. This is the three table join to get the employee name, project, the name, and the number of hours. Let's see. The DESC. Oh, it's my mistake. So the project works on, so not department. So not department. So works on, and then so you will get such a data. Then do I have to run every time this? Can I create something the table for this information? So at that time we can create the view. Name is the works on one. So let's create. So using create the view name. So works on one. Then the rest part is a F followed by the S. Then the others are the same as the select query that I learned. Why don't we just copy and paste? So I'm going to copy and paste, then create it. So what happened? Nothing happened. But if you DESC works on one, you can see the works on one is looks like the table F name, L name, P name, hours. So then you can select from works on one just like the table. So you can get you don't have to type again this query. Instead, you can just the select the view as if you are accessing the table. This is the power beauty of the view virtual table. Okay, even you can select the specific the column like the where from works on one. You can give the where condition like the hours is bigger than the 10. Product X, the new benefit, and those are the over 10 hours, the project, like that. Okay, so that is the power of the. What if you want to change the column name, like the rename of the column? Yes, you can do that. So you can use the parentheses and the rename of department name is from the D name and the count is the number of employees, sum is the total salary, the others are same. Or even you can use the group by. to create them. So why don't you create another view? If you cannot follow, if my lecture is too fast, you can just pause, then the type and see what's going on. DPT info, DPT name, and number of the employee, number of EMPs, and the total salary. Total salary is the new column name for the view. Then as select, so the name, the name and count. As I suggest last week, so it is the good idea if you want to count all of them as a risk. Automatically use a unique, the value, then the sum of the salary, then the from department and the employee, and where the number is equal to the annual. Then group by the D name. Then the successfully created. Then I want to check the DPT info table, not real table, it's the virtual table. Oh, it has the 3 column name. You can see the DPT name, number of employees, and total salary. Okay. Then their data type is automatically assigned based on the base, the table. Okay. Then you can select as a list of DPT info. The research has 4 employees and their total salary is this much. And the administration, 3 employees, and so on, headquarters is like that. So you are able to use such a the view just like the table. Okay. If you don't complete the creating view, please pause the lecture and then lecture video, then you can complete it. Okay. Great. So I believe that most of you guys are able to create the view and understand what is a view virtual table. Then, if you don't wanna one important thing of using the view, what if the data is changed? Then this view is not the pre-selected data. Instead, whenever this view is accessed, like if you submit the query, then access the new data. It's always up to date. Then what if I don't need any view now? So how do I remove the view? Yes, that you can use the drop view. So drop the view, the DPT info like that. Then no longer exists. You cannot so and also you can show table. Then you can see the work zone just like the table. Somebody may be curious. Show views. There's no views. So view is considered as a table. Okay. So there are several important things when you implement the view. Okay. So when do I use the view? So if if your query is very complex, then at the time you can use the view to simplify your query. Okay, so you can create the view regarding to the very the complex the query, then simplify your query. Okay, another thing you need to consider is the view materialization. So let me explain a little bit about such a materialization or materialized view materialization. As I said, the view itself is not real table. So data, there's no data inside. Instead, it's virtual table, which means whenever the view is accessed, then the base table, original table will be accessed. However, long time ago, people realized that. So think about let's see can you guess what is this? This is a US map. So we have the San Francisco and we have the New York, the branch. So we have the employee table in New York. So I create the DEPT employee view that access the specific the department or the employee. So when you access this one, access this, then the return, and then user can access such a data using the through the view. So however, as you may guess, there might be network the latency. It may take a time to all the way access the from the San Francisco to the New York, then the get back the data from New York to the San Francisco. It may be slightly delayed. Can I avoid such a the delay when we are using the view? So this is a view, this is a real table. At the time, instead of creating just the virtual table, so we can create the view with the data here. So instead of accessing the from San Francisco to New York, no, instead we are going to access the such a view materialized data. So materialized view has the data. However, that data is not the independent. It rely on the base table, original table. So when you implement this materialized view, you need to consider the how often you are going to update the such a data. So there are three strategies. So if you select the immediate update, whenever new employee coming in, and this materialized view will be updated. This is a materialized. There is another the immediate, the materialized update. Second option is it's called the lazy update. The lazy update is the if there's a new data, new employee, then when the system is idle or not busy, then this will be updated. This is called the lazy, the update. So third one is the periodic update. Like the midnight, it will be the synchronized. Then any update during the daytime will be updated the midnight to the view. So this is called the periodic update. So you can, depending on the part, the requirement, you can select one of these. So this approach strategy, view materialization, has been used for the distributed. So distributed database. So this, you can create the employee table. Even you can create the multiple view. So for Dallas, for the Chicago, for Miami. So that will be update synchronized using the one of three, the update the mechanism. Then you can manage the different employee view along the different location. This is called using this view materialization or materialized view. We are able to create the distributed database. Unfortunately, MySQL does not support the materialized view. However, Oracle Informix DB2, the commercial DBMS system, support such a materialized view. Okay, so I have seen the real example of using such a materialization view to pretend the distributed database system. Then you can avoid any the network latency, and also it can be used for some security purpose because you have your own instead of accessing the main. This one is important. So you are going to manage the local employee, local employee, local employee, local employee. Even though this one is something issue, your main table will not be hurt. So that is also the security issue and safety issue. Okay. So those are the important things of the view. Then you may be curious, can I update the view? Yes, you are able to update the view. Then consequently, the base table so will be updated. Like if you update the DPT info, so then however, you should be careful. If you have the aggregate function inside your definition of the view, this aggregate function cannot be updated. So unless you have the aggregate function or group by in your the view definition, that you are able to update the base table through the view. Okay. So there are the something important. The concept is called the with check option. Let me show you the example. So there are two types of there is a view. We can create the active employee as the status is active. At this time, if you insert the data into the active employee, yes, you are able to then, but at this time, the ID name status value, maybe okay. However, think about this one condition. Status is the active, but this view is the active, the employee only. However, if you insert the new data through the employee, even that is inactive, you are able to insert the data. That doesn't make sense. But the view does not check whether the data is valid or not. Okay, there's no check. So if you want, this view is only active employee, then with the check option is the option for the creating view. So if you add the with check option, that gonna check the value of the active. So if you try to insert the inactive the user, then this will be error because of the with check option. So you can validate the value of the data using the view with the with check option. Okay. When you, I'm not going to explain the details of the authorization mechanism in the view. However, later when you implement such a view in the production system, you should be careful security purpose because think about you have the base table like the employee. You have the view one. At that time, if you give the permission to the only the view, but even though you do not have the employee base table, the permission, but you are able to insert the data through the view. So how can you avoid? So at the time that when you create the view, you can give the different the permission to the user. So that is the important part of the when you implement the view with a real table in the production system. Okay, so that's the view that I'd like to introduce to you. So please practice. So creating the view is not the complicated one. Using the base table after you create the database, then you can create the view. That is the requirement of the project also. So when do I use the such a view? The first, as I mentioned before, you can make the complex the SQL simple. So this is one of the example. So if your query is the select the the here select the employee, their project and hour. So three table join. Whenever you access the number of hours per project, you need to join the three table. However, if you are using the work zone, for example, select the work zone one. Wow, query is simple. So this is the beauty of using the view. Another one is you can restrict the accessing the base table with the view. If you create the view, the user may not know whether there exists employee table or not. Just they can see the view. Sometimes this view can be used for the temporary purpose. So you can create the temporary the view, then the people can use that view. You don't have to change it, whether you don't have to hide the base table. Just let the user use the temporary view to access the main table. And also as we have seen the with check option like that, we can keep the consistency of the data using the view. However, not always looks like the view is cool and good to use. Not always. Okay. There are definitely downside of using the view. One is performance. This is really the serious problem. Let's think about this one. So if you create the work zone one, wow, it's very simple to access the number of hours per the employee and the project. However, whenever you run the simple query, that doesn't mean that the query is a simple behind. It run the what? Behind all the way. This the three table join. This query will be executed every time. So one time, when I worked for the bank as a database administrator, we create a very fancy, nice view to access the total balance of the user. It actually join the 6, 7 table and so on. So you can just select the simple view and looks like the code. However, behind it takes a lot of the resource operation and computing resource. So when people and most of the application use that view, it's getting slow and slow. So definitely it has a performance issue because our query physically will not be simple. So just the interface is simple. So you should be careful when you create such the view, the what any performance issue on. Another one is maintenance because that's the abstraction. View is kind of abstraction, so you don't see the details of the behind. So later, if the new administrator or the new developer coming in, they may not know whether this is a table or whether this is a view. So so later, if you change something, is it table? Just delete. Is it the view? So there exists a maintenance. To avoid such a maintenance issues, the documentation is very important. Okay, so if you don't complete the exercise, please complete. So I'm going to drop the drop view works on one. So then I have the only the basic physical table without the view. Okay. Okay, so before we move on to the stored procedure, I'd like to introduce one more time the change of schema that we have covered briefly the last time, and also that is a part of the today's regular exercise lab. Okay, so after we create the table, then sometimes we don't like the something additional information. We need to change it such as the schema, the definition. At that time, one obvious the typical way is you can drop the table and the create again. However, not always it is possible. We need to change the schema. So we are going to see how to change the schema and whether there exists any issues. Then first, when you drop the table or drop the something, so there are the two options. So one is the cascade and another one is the restrict. The cascade option means any relevant the database object like the table or the other view is automatically consequently deleted. So this is the cascade option. On the other hand, there's a restrict option. Restrict option means if there exists any the relevant the database object, it will not be executed until you remove the other one first. One typical example is the view. So when you delete the view with the cascade, cascadely the base table will be deleted. Otherwise, a restrict will not. Okay. So also most popular the changing the schema is based on the alter table. So as we discussed last time, the in the alter command is the called the data definition language. The data definition language include the create a table, alter table, and so on. So we are not going to use update the table. Update table is the update the value of the table. So instead, if we change the schema or structure or definition of the table, at the time we can use the alter table. So alter table has the several the option like in this case the alter table employ add a column. This time that you can add a new column at the end of the definition. Okay. The also, if you wanna the add or the remove the constraint, like the for example primary key or foreign key, it can be the alter table and drop constraint, or the alter table add primary key, alter table add something. At the time when you drop the constraint, you can use the cascade option. That means any relevant table that is related to this constraint will be cascadely deleted. Okay, so also you can drop the column, but when you drop the column, so you can use alter table drop column the cascade, but not always you can drop the column. So sometimes I do not recommend to use the drop column option for alter table. Instead, it is safe. You can drop first back up the data, drop the table, and create a new the table again. Then add the data. Okay. So also when you use the drop column, you can use the drop the default and or the you can use a set default, which means if you alter the column for the manager social security number, what about the corresponding the using the foreign key? So at the time you can drop the default or the set default value. Okay, so that is the more information about the changing the schema. As I mentioned before, you can go to the exercise lab document, lab 6, which will not be covered today's class, but you should be able to follow the instruction. Let's see where are they. So natural join and here delete the insert the view. And yes, so you can go to the A3 alter table statement, so you can practice more about such an alter table, add column, draw column, and so on. So next topic is the stored procedure. So as the name implies, it's the procedure. So one of the downside of the using the SQL, yes, as you know, the SQL is really high level language. It's close to the natural language like the English and easy to learn, and most likely it's a straightforward language. One of the downside of using the SQL is the SQL does not provide procedural part of the language, which is popular in most of the other the language, like the no if then else, no loop, the no for loop, and the like that. So that is the downside of using the SQL. Is there any way to use such a procedural part of the language with the SQL? So this is the stored procedure support such the procedural language part. In addition to that, it's called the stored procedure, which means it's not client side. Once you create such the procedure, it will be stored at the server side, which means database inside. So you don't have to recreate, you don't have to create again. You can just call the existing stored procedure once you create. So the we will see the such a stored procedure to make the your SQL more powerful. So before we start, I always suggest you guys to find more information from there. What? The reference site. So you can find the MySQL 8 the reference site. If you go to this link, that shows all the details of the stored procedure. Not only stored procedure, but this link provide more the information about the SQL command. Okay. So what is a stored procedure? So stored procedure is the server side. Server side means the DBMS keep such a stored procedure. So once you create it, then you are able to just execute, call such a procedure. Okay. Also, that stored procedure include procedural part of the language, such as if then else conditional statement, or the loop, for loop, while loop, and so on. Also, you can use the variable. So that is the power of the stored procedure. So advantage, you can hide a lot the logics behind such a stored procedure. Also, you can reuse once you create. And also, the one of the issue is the use the SQL is a set. So you need to access the tuple by tuple. However, if you are using the stored procedure, you can access the entire record to the temporary space, which is called the cursor. So let me explain that part, the more details. So MySQL supports such a stored procedure. Sometimes it's called the PSM. PSM means a persistent stored module. Persistent means once you create, it's permanently stored at the server side. Okay. This is the IS standard. So which means any DBMS, the relational database management system has the same the process as the two option. One is procedure, another one is the function. What is the difference between the procedure and function? Procedure, as you know, it's not required input and output. So just the focus on the procedure code inside. It may have the input value, but there's no output value. On the other hand, function, there is a input variable and also output. So that is called the return. So you can imagine just the typical general the function. So you are able to create your own user-defined function using create function. So also both of them can have the local variable. Also, it can have their own logic, the procedural code for the procedure and functional code for the function, like that. Okay, so which means once you understand either of them, the others are not much complicated. You learned a lot of such a function and the procedure in the program language like the Python and the Java. So we will learn how to use such a stored procedure in MySQL. So this is the syntax. The red part is the required the keyword, create the procedure and procedure name. Then such a procedural part will be box starting with the begin and end with the end. So inside you can add the logic. Then also in addition to that, there are variable definition part. So you can define the parameter 1, parameter 2, and n number of parameter. These are the optional. If you do not have the parameter, no input value. If you have the input value, you can specify the input parameter here. One important thing is there are three different types of the parameter. One is in, only input. This parameter, this variable will be used. So parameter and the variable, same meaning. So in is only used for the input. The out parameter is used for the output. If you are going to use both input and output, you can define the parameter as the in, out. So there are three of them. So in mode is just the path, is the input parameter. Out mode is the to return to the user. And the in, out is both of them. Okay. So there are several important things. So when you start to learn the stored procedure, first, unlike the SQL, it has the variable. So you need to declare the variable. And how many of such a parameter? Any number of the parameter. But each parameter should be at least, you should specify in, out, or in, out. Okay. In case you are using variable character, you need to specify the maximum length. Then you can use obviously flow control like the if, then else, loop, while loop, and so on. Okay. Then once you create the procedure, you can call. You can run, execute your procedure using call command. One more thing. Just like the SQL statement, the procedure will end with semicolon. So this is because the stored procedure also based on the interpreter. So you need to specify your end of statement with the colon. However, because of this one, it's slightly complicated. Let's see such a thing. Okay. Before we move on, so I don't have to explain the details of the condition part because you learned a lot, such if then else or the case or while loop with the condition, the before with other program language. But the procedure has also error handler. Handler means that it can return the message based on the current execution. It's pretty much the same as a try and catch mechanism in the program languages such as Java and Python. Try means run something. If there's any exception, then to catch the exception, then do something. So the stored procedure also uses such the try and catch mechanism for the error handler. Okay. Best practice is the execute. So this is one of the example of to create the procedure. Name is show number of the reservation, and there is no parameter. No problem. Sometimes your procedure may not have any parameter, no input, no output. Just run the procedural part. That select the sum of the data like this. Then it will be created. Okay. So this is the example of another example of the procedure. Oh, this time so begin and end only insert. It may be possible. This is another type of the procedure. Without selecting, just insert the data. And you can see that some difference between the MySQL and the Oracle the procedure. Oracle called such a stored procedure as the PL SQL. PL means the procedural language for SQL. So Oracle is almost the same because they are following the same ISO standard, but it has one more, the keyword is to separate. So that's the only difference. Okay. Sometimes you can see the error. That error can be the retrieve the show error. However, the unfortunately the MySQL does not support such a command, so ignore. However, if you wanna run the after you create the procedure, how to execute the procedure? Call command. Using the call command, you can run execute. Okay. Before we start to practice, so I'm going to very quickly explain about each statement. First, if. So the procedure support the conditional statement. So it's if, else if, and else, then and if. So don't forget, it's a little bit confusing. Okay, so if and if. The in between, if you have the multiple else if with the condition, okay, then the last one is the else. So it's a little bit annoying because there's a space, but I believe that you guys can understand this syntax. So then, if there is a if, there might be case. It's a case, as you know. So multiple if, the procedure will be combined. So case the way the expression, depending on the value of the expression, when one, two, like that, and the else. Then this is the AND case. Don't forget that there's a space here. There's a different types of case. You can directly give the condition to the when. Okay, it is also doable. Okay, then that is a conditional statement. What about the loop? So yes, the procedure support such a loop. So loop and loop. So this will be repeated until when you should have the exit condition. If you do not have the exit condition, you can use the repeat and until the such condition. Then and the repeat. Each loop may have their label. This is optional. Okay, let's start the example. So first one is the Q1.SQL. So before we start, we are using if you go to our exercise lab folder, you can see the lab 6 and lab 6E. Lab 6 is for the practice by yourself. So today I'm not going to cover this one. However, you should the complete after the class by yourself. Then in class, I'm going to use the lab 6E. Then you will see the Q1 through the Q9 that will be used for today's exercise lab practice during the class. So let me show you the one of the example Q1.SQL. So this is you can see always the top right corner Q1.SQL. So then you can see the example. So that is exactly same as this one. So if you believe that you are very slow to type, so you can open another editor, then you can copy and paste. Okay. Why don't you start to run? So you can just follow as it is. The first command is weird. Delimiter, dollar, dollar, and semicolon. What does it mean? So So what does this statement mean? So as you know, the all SQL statement end with the semicolon. As you have used, as you have learned, and the all statement should be ended with the semicolon. However, as you can see the example of the stored procedure, it ends with also semicolon. That doesn't mean that the create function should be executed. It's so complicated. It's sometimes confused. So why don't we temporarily swap the our end of statement is the dollar dollar. It's non-used one. So it's the really used one. So dollar dollar nobody used. So it will replace the current delimiter. like the semicolon. So this will be current delimiter, this will not be. So we can still keep this one. It will not be used for the end of statement. It's the end of the create function procedure. Okay, then how do we specify the end of statement? That will be dollar dollar sign. So dollar dollar sign is the new one to submit this create function to the server. Then it will be executed. Then once you execute the create function to the procedure, then back to the original the one. It's the semicolon. Then dollar. So semicolon will replace the dollar dollar sign. So this is only for the MySQL. Oracle does not have such a thing, but the MySQL still use the end of the stored procedure with the semicolon. Because of that, it's confused with the end of statement, semicolon. Okay, so one more time, we are going to temporarily replace the end of statement, the semicolon by dollar dollar sign. So that is the delimiter. So why don't we, the delimiter, dollar dollar, and this one. So from now on, for example, select from employee, it will be, it will not be executed because our new, like this one. So when you submit the query, it should be like this. Okay, dollar dollar sign. Okay. So this time select as a risk from employee. Let me so like this one. So once you use the change the delimiter by the dollar dollar sign, then finally you can type the you can create the function. This time our function is the calculate the income. The input is the starting value, then output is newly calculated. For example, this time the income will be increased until what? The bigger than 4,000, that starting value will be added. So you can understand the this so the procedure. I think the you are good. After you create, I'm going to explain. Okay. Why don't you type? So let me this time the type together with you create function. Okay, so before I execute, I'm going to explain the meaning of the create function. So this is the name of your function. Later, after you create it, you are going to use this name, like the sum function, average function, like that is the user defined function. Then input is a starting value. You can specify integer value as the input. Then return is also the integer because it's a function input and the output. And the no SQL means, so there's no SQL statement inside, only the procedure. right? So in that case, you can specify, which means we can bypass the query processing query optimizer. So it will be fast. So as I explained, it's a begin with the begin and end with the end. Then this is the end of the create function. Then this is the execution. We just replace by the dollar dollar sign. So then the declare, this is the new variable used inside the local variable income integer, and the income is the 0, and this is a loop. Repeat until when? Until the income is 4,000. So starting value will be added when it's bigger than the 4,000. Then once it's bigger than 4,000 out of the repeat, then the return the income value. So let's enter. Oops, I have the error, so I'm going to fix. Okay, so if you got such an error, so because you do not have the permission to execute the function or procedure, so you should, first option is to address this problem, you should have the super privilege. That is not safe because if you have the super privilege, it will be the you can do the everything. So other the user may the abuse such a superpower. So there's another option as mentioned in the short the description. That you can set the log bin the trust function creator the variable. You can change this variable. To do that, please go to your GCP console and select the SQL. Then you can find your MySQL database that you currently you are using. So once you have the green checkbox, why don't you click the edit? Once you click the edit and the sound, you can see the flag option. If you select the flag option, so you can actually change the configuration of your database using this one. So you can just select the add database flag, and then you can see all the list of the configuration the option. So it has auto commit and so on. So some of them you may use later, but we are interested in what is the name of that? It's the log bin the trust function. So you can find log bin log bin trust function creator. So select this option, then the value is on, which means you are able to create the function you without the super privilege. Okay, once you are ready, done, and you can save, then it will take less than a minute. Okay, so once you are ready and back to the here, so you can actually run again. To run again, dollar sign and enter. So then, query is not specified, so you can edit. There's no query. So which means I'm going to use the test again, exit, because the database. So you can exit your database because it's the reset your database, and then connect your database, then the use test. So then you can type this one, but you don't want to type this one again as the I provide. So here, so I'm going to copy and paste. So first the change the delimiter, it works, and we do not have the but just in case we are going to drop. So there's no such a function. Then the will create the calculate the income. Then this time it works. So now you are able to, once you change the configuration using the flag, you don't have to change it later. Okay. Then once you create, the delimiter is the back to the semicolon. Then finally we create the first function. So then how can we use that? There are two ways. You can call the function, but you can use that function inside your query. So select calculate the income. Starting value is the 1,000. So then it will increase by you can see the starting value 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Once it's equal or bigger than 4,000, it will return. So 4,000 will be returned. So 4,000 is returned like this one. Okay. So this is the first the procedural the stored procedure. Okay. One more time. We are going to change the delimiter by the $$ temporarily because the semicolon can be used for both. One is the end of the statement and execute. Another one is the end of stored procedure. So we don't want to confuse. So to address that, we are going to change the delimiter execution, the end of the statement, the delimiter that is the semicolon by the $. Then once you create it, we back to the semicolon. And also the NoSQL is the option in case you do not have any query inside. Okay. So you can use the while, the loop. So as a user, the label is optional, then the while and the do and the while. So you can specify the condition. So you don't have to have the exit condition. So instead you have such a condition. So also let me move on. We are going to practice the second, the third process this time. So first, we will use the employee table. Why don't you double check whether you have the employee table like this one, okay? And also, we are going to use the department table. Department owners. Yes, you have the 3, the department 8, the employee, like this. Then suppose we want to keep track of the total salary of the employee working for each department. So we are going to create the table, DPT salary table, by selecting the D number, 0 as the total salary from the department. So why don't we create the DPT salary as the select D number, we are going to bring the D number and 0 as total salary is currently the 0 total salary from department. So from the department, we are going to select the D number and the total salary is 0. So once you create the DPT salary, you can just check from DPT salary. So then the department 5 is total salary 0, 4 is 0, 1 is 0, or like that. Okay. Then what we're gonna do is that we are going to create the procedure, the how to update the DPT salary over here. So first step is we are going to change the delimiter. So delimiter is the $, and instead of the semicolon. Then so we are going to create the procedure name is called update salary. So we are going to create update salary, which takes as an input. Input is a department number. Then what you gonna do is that so this is the create the procedure, and you will create the update salary. Input is the input. Parameter is the integer, is a department number. Then what you gonna do is you are going to add your code here. That update the DPT salary for the corresponding the input parameter like that. So why don't you start and then we will check that together. You can just post, then create your own update the salary. Then by filling the blue box, then we will check that together. Meanwhile, I'm going to create the procedure. Okay, so I believe that all of you already complete the simple procedure. This is my code. Then create the procedure. Then update the department DPT salary that we created. And how to update total salary is by selecting the specific the department from the employee. Then the sum of the salary for those employee. That makes sense? Yes. And this will be the updated the total salary for the corresponding department. Okay, let's create this procedure, no problem. Then the next step is we are going to use the, oh, by the way, we need to get back to the original delimiter. Uh, some of the student, the mistake, there exists the space in between. So there's no space. This is it all together. The delimiter space, the semicolon space, the dollar dollar. Then enter. Okay, so then the next step is that we are going to execute. So call that the update salary procedure. Department number one. So call update salary department number one. Oops, it's my mistake. Okay, so then select from the DPT set. You can see the department number one is updated like that. So call this time the four. Then we will select the DPT set. Yes, that is updated 93,000 by selecting all the employee salary from the department to number four. That is in your update salary, the procedure. Then the last one is the department number five. Then we will select the DPT say yes, finally it works. So this is the simple procedure to update the data. Okay, got it? If you don't complete this one yet, why don't you stop the video, then complete the Q2. Okay, move on to the next one. So we can actually check the status of the procedure. Like for example, if you type the show procedure status, wow, it's really big. So let me make the bigger and the you can see the not sure whether you guys can see. Yes, there's one node selected, the test update salary and the procedure, and then this is the by the JELE from the old host and the date and time and so on. So this information will be the selected from your the database catalog. Okay, let me back to the here. So always you can check the procedure status. Okay. If you are done, I don't use the procedure anymore. You can drop the procedure. Update salary. Then there's no more the procedure in your the database. Okay. So when you are doing when you create the procedure or the function, sometimes you need to do the debugging. The easy and the best way of such a debugging on the procedure is you can use the command. You probably use a lot in your the other program language. You can give the command inside your logic, and also you can concatenate your variable with a value and so on. Okay. There are other the method, but I'm going to skip that part. If you want to know more about such a sort procedure in MySQL, always I'm suggesting to go to the link that it is for the reference site on the MySQL for specific version, so you can follow such a tutorial. Okay, next one. is the function. So if you are able to create a procedure, function is not much different. The function is more like the input and output. So you can just match such a parameter value. Okay. So then take a look at the syntax. So you can create the function. So function name and these are the input parameter. And there's output parameter is a return value. So there are options deterministic or not deterministic. Deterministic means if the input is the same, then output will be the same. Okay. However, sometimes non-deterministic is like the estimated value and such a thing. At the time, is the non-deterministic. You can specify. So just like the procedure, it has a begin and end and execution code. And for the parameter, the declaration is the same as the procedure in out and the in out option. Okay. So let's create the function this time. So we are going to create the function name is give raise. That function actually increase the salary by the specific amount. So which means with this is a create function name. This is the old value and the new the amount of the value. That amount will be added, then return to the value, return value. Okay, so let's start. Let's start with change the delimiter, the dollar, and this one. So then create the function and give raise. So please, you can stop right now. So you can follow this. Then your job is to complete the begin and end part. Add the code. So input is the old value and the amount to be increased. So you can just add inside in your the begin and end. Then I believe that you are able to complete. Why don't you stop or the pause the video, then complete, then the resume. Okay, so this is the my code, the create function, give raise, and this is always the same, so deterministic, and then declare the new variable. So then the new variable is the old value. Oh, this is the amount of the percentile. So I got confused. I'm sorry. So either is fine, but this time there is the one plus the amount is for example the 10%, 20% like that, and then the new value will be returned. So let me create the function. Okay, so successfully created. Then the back to the original delimiter. So this one. Then so why don't we use this give raise the salary as a part of our query? Like we are going to select the employee, their name, salary, and the new salary by increasing the 10%. So for example, select F name, L name, salary, and then the give raise is the function. The give raise, and then the salary is the old value and the 10% increase. Salary and 0.1, 10%, and from employee. So I think, so if you want, you can give the name of the column aliasing, then from employee. And you can see that this is the old value, the existing one in the database. This is increased by the 10% for each employee. So we can create the user-defined function, then use that function inside as a part of your query. Okay. So next topic is the cursor. So First, let me explain what is a cursor. So cursor is kind of the temporary space in a memory because database is a set. It's a set of the data. However, our programming is the accessing tuple by tuple. So once you access such a data, you need to store such a data temporary space. That is the called the cursor. So you can actually the use the cursor implicitly. I never, but automatically DBMS database whenever you just submit the query and create the temporary cursor and put all the data as a set. Then the client will select the data one by one. So what if I want to create my own cursor? Yes, you can do that. That is called the explicit cursor. So you can define the cursor inside the memory. Then this is kind of temporary room. So your all the query data stored at the temporary room. Then you can get one tuple by one tuple. Tuple by tuple, you can, it's called the fetch. You can select the data. So there are the steps to use such a cursor in your the stored procedure. So the first open cursor. Before that, you need to define, create the cursor. So this time cursor is a select from customer. So getting all the customer data into the cursor. So this is the definition. Then if you open, then physically the data is retrieved and stored at the customer. The C customer, the cursor is a memory space. Then once you get such a data, you can the fetch, select the one by one, the fetch into the variable, then you can process, you can do something. Then once you are done, you can close. Close means release this memory the location free. Okay, let's see the example. So next example, use the cursor, okay, to the department salary. Do you remember this DPT salary, the table? So let's update first because we are going to use the same table. Update. Let's check the. So we are going to update the DPT salary. Set the total salary is a 0. And if you check it, oh yes, it's a 0. Okay. And this time we are going to create the cursor. The name is the current D number. Not here. Oh yes, here. The cursor name is the DNum cursor. And by selecting the department number from the DPT cell. Okay, so then there are a couple of several other things. So we will define the variable, and also this is another variable, integer variable, and also this is error handler that if data is not found, is done, is one. Then we can actually exit. The reason is that once you declare the cursor, it is the D number cursor, then the execute and all the data will be inside the cursor. Then you are able to access one by one. Then how to implement the access one by one? At that time, we will use a loop. At this time, repeat. So repeat should be ended. So there should be exit condition. What is the exit condition? Until done. So until done is actually based on the error handler. So there's no data found. And at the end of the cursor, it will be set as a 1. So 1 means that so you can exit. So that is the so the procedure using a cursor. So let's why don't you the time as it is, then you can see. Or if you already if you are lazy to type, so query for is actually all the process that I explained. So you can copy and paste. So we already did this one and create the procedure all the way here. Oh, by the way, we need to change the delimiter. Then create the update the salary. no problem. Then back to the here. Okay, then we create it. So we declare and open the cursor. Open cursor means the execute and the fetch one by one using the loop. This time we use the repeat. And once we are done, that is actually marked as this one. Though at the end of no data found, then the close the cursor. That's it. So that is the end. Then we can select call the update the salary. So call. Okay, so let's double check whether it's correct. So select from EPT cell. Yes. So the procedure is uh, executed correctly. Okay. This is the query example. So the procedure example using the cursor. Okay. This is another example using the cursor. Okay. So we are going to create the procedure, give the raise to the all employee. Okay. So salary increase. So let's check the employee table. Yes, we have the 8 rows like this one. Then this one, the is give raise. So this time the percentile. So input is the how much increase, the percentile, and there are several the variable like the default is done or not. So this done will be the change it as the 1, then we can stop in case no data found. So ESSN, the variable, salary variable. We can create the employee, the REC cursor. How? By selecting the SSN salary from the employee. So what you're gonna do is the open the EMP REC. Then fetch one by one using loop. Okay, you can use repeat until so done. Okay, and between them, you are going to multiply by the 1 plus the amount and the multiply. That's it. So why don't you stop and or the post, then try to complete this. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, let's see the code. So we can open the cursor, then the repeat and the end repeat. This will be stopped when the no data found. Done is 1. Then fetch one by one, fetch the cursor, then the save the store the data into the ESSN and the salary local variable and update the employees that the salary is the salary plus the salary times the amount. So that is the 1 plus the amount is the same thing. Then the until done, so it's completed. Okay, great. So then we can call the procedure 10% increase. Then the select. If you are not sure the salary is increased, we can select the F name and the salary from employee. Oops. So you can see the amount of money is increased from the previous one. Previous one is, for example, 30,000. Now it's 33, 10% increase. Everything is 10% increase by using the stored procedure. Okay, great. So as I mentioned, we have done the explicit cursor, but any the SQL that you are running or executing is based on the cursor. That is called the implicit the cursor. Okay. So move on to the last topic, which is called the tree. Okay. If you remember the relational database model has the definition of the structure. It's a set of row or a set of data or the set of the tuple or the set of the column set of attribute like that. And then in relational database model, there exists the non-null and primary, the constraint, primary key constraint, the referential integrity constraint, the unique constraint, and foreign key constraint. In addition to that, there exists the customized the constraint. For example, in my company, all employee salary cannot exceed the CEO's salary. So how can you keep the constraint using relational model? Not easy. So at the time, we can create the assertion or trigger. So both assertion and trigger are used in the SQL standard, but nowadays it's trigger is mostly widely used in the commercial DBMS system. So what is a trigger? Do you know the dictionary meaning of trigger? It's a trigger, like the in a gun, like that. So which means once, for example, my company has the local policy, company policy. No employee's salary cannot exceed the CEO's. Otherwise, for example, if the employee salary is changed, if then the check whether the new salary is bigger than the CEO salary. If yes, fire or something do. Otherwise, yes, go ahead. So this is based on the event, the condition, and action. This is called the ECA rule. So ECA rule actually used in you have used in the program language? Yes, it's an error handler. So the try and catch. So when you open the file, you probably use the try and catch. So try and catch means if something happen, if the file is open and check whether there exists a file or not. If not, then error. If yes, yes, open it. So event, if something happen, check the condition. If condition is yes, do something. So in the in-house example, like the event, if the salary is changed, updated, and check whether the new salary is bigger than the CEO's salary. If yes, do something. Okay, so this is the ECA, the rule. This ECA rule is implemented in the create the trigger. So this the trigger actually the preserve the local constraint. So let's see the example. So this is the one example, the how to create the assertion like that. So then to check whether this is true or not, like that. But mostly nowadays, the DBMS use the create trigger the statement, create trigger. Okay. So by the way, the trigger looks like the agent. It's the service program. It's always running and the check the if something happen event or not. If yes, then check the condition. If condition is true, do something. So this is the purpose of the trigger. It's very, very useful in a database to keep the constraint of your database. Okay. So these are the example. Charge 10% overdraft fee if. So if something the have overdraft happen and check the balance, then do something to charge it 10% and limit the salary increase the employee no more than the 5%. If the salary is increased, then check whether over the 5% or not. Do something. So this is called the trigger. So let's see the syntax of the trigger. So trigger is created by the create trigger name. Okay. Then we should have the something event. So something happened where some table or you can specify specific column. Then do something, trigger action. Event, check the condition and the trigger. So there are two times of the time. You can check the before change or after change. So before or after. Then also trigger will not be the use for select because select does not change anything. Only insert, update, delete, the change of the value. So event is the insert, delete, update on specific table, even specific the column. Okay. So in case of before, you are not going to execute the trigger, just checking the. But after let the query update the value, then the do something. So that is the difference. Okay. So this is an example of the trigger. So salary violation. So you can see the before insert or update. So this is the if the salary and the supervisor on employee is insert or update. Before insert or update, check this one. When new salary is bigger than the supervisor salary, then the inform to the supervisor. For the action, we can use, we can create another procedure, or sometimes you can log, you can insert the data in log table like that. Either way is fine. Okay. So this is a syntax by the MySQL, the reference book. Okay, let's see the example. So we are going to create the first trigger. So it's on the Q6. So we want to create the trigger to update the total salary of a department when new employee is hired. So in other words, if new employee is hired, the new employee has a salary. So we are going to update DPT salary automatically. So that is our goal of the trigger. Okay. So why don't you double check whether you have the employee table and also you have the DPT salary table for each department. Okay. Then first you can check the replace the change the delimiter like that and the create. So if you I'm not sure how to the type, so you can use the q6.sql file. But it's a simple syntax. Create the trigger and trigger name. This is after insert on employee. So which means let it go. So new employee will be inserted. Then you are going to check the condition and action. What is the condition? Check the the salary of the new employee. Then update DPT cell. That is the action. Okay. So this part. So we are going to create trigger. So please stop or pause the current video, then try to complete this query. Okay. So this is a trigger name. So after insert an employee, so which means let the query insert a new employee. Then for each row, then the new, you can see the new value of the DNO. Okay. The DNO is the column name, but there are two DNO. One is the new DNO and another one is the old DNO. However, insert does not need the old one because it's just new data. So just a new.dno. It's not null, then the update the DPT salary, set the total salary with the new salary, and for what? Which department? The new DNO department. This is the action. So this is the condition. Condition is not null, then the insert it. Okay, so looks okay. Then the check the back to the delimiter. So keep in mind there are two the column, new dot column, old dot column. Old dot column is the previous data, new column is the new data. However, in case of insert, there exists only the new one. In case of delete, there is the old one only. In case of update, both new and old. Okay, so this is the complete code. Then let's see. First, select from DPT cell. So DPT cell is like this one, no problem. Then we are going to insert the data, like the employee J.K. Lee, and then the SSN is like this one. Why don't you type? So I'm going to insert. So I'm going to insert the new data, then see what happened. So it's inserted. Then you can see the now means is current time. Then check the DPT cell. Yes, you can see the 550,000 is added to the department number 5 because the new employee is department number 5. Their salary is 50K. So 50K is added, so it's updated. Even though I do not do any update, but trigger the such a service, the program automatically check whether there is new data on employee and the do action. So trigger is executed successfully. Okay. Please, if you don't complete the Q6 yet, why don't you stop and or pause the video and complete it. Okay, next one is the is on the Q7, the trigger to update the total salary of the department employee is DNO is modified. So if the one employee moved to one to another, then their total salary is should be changed, right? So we are going to implement such a the trigger to monitor and update automatically. So to do that, we are going to change the delimiter and then create the trigger. At this time, the trigger name is update the salary to. Then is after update. So we let the query update the data, but the action is the update the DPT set. So why don't you try to complete this part by pausing the current video, then you can take a time. Okay, this is my query and successfully created a trigger. Let's see the one more time. So name is salary to update the salary to is after, which means let update the employee table. Then because it's updated, there are two DNO. One is old dot and another one is the new dot. So old DNO is not null. Then you can take out the old salary from the corresponding department. Then update, add the new the DNO, such a new salary will be added. Okay, so then back to the delimiter. Let's run the query. So this time it's better to check the EPT cell. It's like this one. Then we will update the employee. Set DNO is a 4, where SSN is equal to 222334444. So 22233. Oh, that is the lead, and 50K is the update. The DNO is the 4, which means from 5, the take out the 50K. That's gonna be 13,133 the thousand. Then that will be added to the 4. That will be plus the 50, like this. So that's what we expect. Once we update, oh, it's updated. Then check the DPT said, yes, it's changed as we expected. So take out the money from the 5 and add the 50K to the 4. Okay, so if you don't complete the code yet, please post right now and complete the Q7. Okay. So we are going to practice one more, the trigger. So next trigger is to update the total salary of the department when employee tuple is deleted. Okay, the previous one is update. This one is deleted. We can take out that. So why don't you this time create your own trigger? So always start with changing the delimiter, and then you can create the trigger. Okay. For the name of trigger, why don't you use update the salary tree? This is a third the update the salary the trigger, so you can create the trigger. Okay. Please pause right now. Then try to create the update the salary tree. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, I successfully create the updated salary tree. What about you? So why don't you compare your code with mine? This is a before delete. So after delete, you cannot do that. So before delete the employee and the old value is not null, then you can take out the old value from the DPT cell. If done, then the exit. So it's good. So then we can back to the delimiter. Okay, then delete the data. So first, this is the current, where is it? Yes. So DPT 133, 143, 55. Then we will delete the me, the Lee. So delete from employee, where SSN is 222. What was the 33? Yes, it's deleted. Then the check back. This one. Yes, so 50K was taken out from the department number 4. So the trigger is working. Okay. Okay, so we practiced the 3 different types of not types, but the 3 triggers. One is update, and another one is insert, and another one is delete. Okay. So keep in mind, the one trigger can take care of the one event. So if you have the same or similar the processing go to the insert and delete, it's a good idea. You can create the have the different procedure and the different function. Okay. Also the trigger, just like the many other database object, you can have the name, the and also the kind of the following the naming convention that include the table name as well as the event. Otherwise, if the creator leave the project may not be the trackable. Okay. Okay. So if you are using the correctly, the properly, this trigger is really powerful because you don't have to implement the different application program. You don't have to check that every time. Instead, you can just create such a the trigger. Then this trigger will work so the whenever data is updated and deleted automatically. So it can make a lot the simpler your application code. And also keep in mind, you can keep the old value and the new value for the color. So in case of update, you can use both of them. And also the delete, you can use the old value. Or while in case of the insert is a new value. Okay. So what if you do not know the details of your trigger? So then there's the command show the trigger. Then you can actually see the hood of the trigger. This is I think the not very good the visibility like this. So then if you can see that this is one of them, and there's another one code, and this is the third one. So you can actually find the information about your trigger by accessing the show trigger. Those all of these are available on your the information underscore schema, the catalog database also. Okay. Really last one. So because the when you probably the next week, we will discuss about the database programming. After database programming, you are going to more focus on your project phase 4 and 5. At that time, you can implement your query, your program. But one of the most important part of the database programming is called the dynamic SQL. To understand what is a dynamic SQL, opposite of the dynamic SQL is called the static SQL. So what is the static SQL? Static SQL means your query is fixed, will not be changed. Just like the select from the employee. So select as the from employee will not be changed in your application. However, a lot of time by select the menu or option, your query can be the changed. So for example, I'd like to provide a table and access all the data. So how many tables do you have? 10 different tables. So you have the 10 different query in your table. So table 1, select from the table 1, select from the table 2, like that. Oh, this is not a good way. Instead, so dynamic SQL provide the flexibility of creating your SQL. Instead of the fixed static SQL, depending on the input, you are going to assemble or concatenate, then eventually create the SQL. So to do that, the first you need to assemble, you need to concatenate the statement, SQL statement. Then prepare the statement, then execute the statement. Then this is a cursor, so you are able to fetch the statement. Then using the loop, then finally you can do that. So this is one of the example. So let me open. Oops. You can complete the code, the counting number of rows of the table. Okay, so you can select you can execute this one, but you can select the number of rows for the input table. So let's do together the limiter. Okay, so create the procedure. It's called the dynamic. So input is the table name. That depending on the table name, your query will be assembled. So then the submit the assembled query. Okay, so why don't you try to complete the code? Okay, here is my code. So I create a dynamic. The input is a table name, and assemble, concatenate the table, the SQL statement with the input, the table name. Select the asterisk from table name. It's a concat option, the function. So then the prepare, execute. Then this statement is then another statement is the table name. Select the count. Then the execute and the return this one, the count. Okay, so let's create this, then back to the delimiter. Okay, then you can actually the code employee. So how many rows? 8 rows. You can actually select the DPT part month. Yes, it's a 3. You don't have to create a new query. Instead, just the assemble. So this is called the dynamic SQL. You are going to use this dynamic approach a lot in your database programming in your project. So we will discuss more the details later about such a dynamic SQL. Okay, that's it. That's the end of today's lecture. So today's lecture includes a lot of practice. So that is the in-class exercise under the Lab 6E. So don't forget it's Lab 6E. So your homework is, I know that many of you guys couldn't complete the all the query. So why don't you after this video complete the Q2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Why don't you complete this query? Then zip under with your name. Okay. Then submit to the exercise lab 6. Okay, also that exercise lab 6 should include the your assignment on the exercise lab. So if you go to at the end of the exercise lab document, you can see the creating and altering the table, and there's a student, the cursor, and the value. Oh, this one is for the 5. So it's a 6. So 6 all the way. All the 60, the 3 query you complete. Then your homework is the way a little bit more. Yes. So you can create a view for this which is the major. Okay. Then also another view. So you can create a 2 view and also practice more the complex query with the join. Okay. So then the submit this the after you zip with the name, but the first one is exercise 6, exe6 underscore your name, that's zip file, and the second one is the let6 underscore your name, that's equal as a zip file. Zip file, then you can submit it. So then Homework 6 is kind of a mini project that you can model the hospital management system. The hospital management system does not provide a very detailed requirement. That's true in the real life project. You can assume that if you believe that this is true or this is not the scope, that you can assume that if any unclear the information. Then try to model. So SQL workshop will be going on. It's this week is for the self join. That will be let me see who is in charge of that. Oh, this time the Ihan will be in charge of the self join. So February 18th, the 10-12. So it's from the 12:40 p.m. Okay, then submit the third the SQL. So as a user, the read the textbook and also the online material is also available for your better understanding. So including trigger and the MySQL Workbench and the view. Okay. Okay, so let me stop sharing. So we did a lot of the practice regarding to the view, trigger, and the third procedure. Please practice with your own hand. This time, I believe that you have more time to practice and complete and submit the completed SQL to the homework. Okay. Thanks so much for watching the video, and we will have the in-person class the February 21st. At the time, there are several due, including project as well as the discussion. Don't forget to submit your discussion topic as well as the completing the project. Thank you, and enjoy the long weekend. Thank you. Bye bye.